Okay, in the previous two videos, we understood the basics of UX, and in this video, I'm going to talk about user-centered design process, or UCDP. In this course, we have a lot of different parts and sections, which are going to talk about different sections and different processes of how you find your users' need and how you solve those user needs step-by-step process. Okay, so let's jump into our screen and see what do I mean by user-centered design process, and we're going to have a look at it as well. Okay, when I talk about user-centered design process, we have different elements that we're going to see. I would highly recommend making notes at this section because this is going to be a very important section for you that you might need to use again and again, which is going to be quite helpful as well. Okay, so let's move ahead. So we're going to look at the 4 key questions that you need to ask, which are going to be involved for user-centered process. If you answer these questions, this will give you much more higher clarity on what exactly you're going to work on and what you want to design. Okay. First is goal. Okay. What is a user's goal? What do you want to achieve with the goal? Okay. Second is need. Okay. What is the user's need that he wants to solve? Okay. Then you have the context. Okay. What is the context of your user? What perspective you're keeping it? And then you need to define the end-to-end pipeline, which means how does the user interact with the product from start to finish? Pretty easy, pretty clean. All these 4 questions, I would want you to write it down and, make sure that you have them in your mind. Okay, let's go ahead and let's see an example. Let's take an example of a wristwatch. Okay, for a wristwatch, what is the goal? The goal is to be on time. Okay, you just always want to be on time. That's why you buy a wristwatch. Then what is the need? Okay, need to know the time at any point in the day. Okay, let's say you want to know the time, in the morning. So you just you look at a wristwatch, and that's what it does for. Then you need to look at the context. Okay, all the circumstances that affect how the watch is being used. All circumstances. Okay, it can be like time of the day, it can be temperature, it can be surroundings, it can be this or this can be that. Anything that affects the how the watch is being used. You need to look into that perspective. Of course, this is not really definable in a lot of cases, but it's surely definable for a lot of cases as well, which means that you can define for a given scope, and that's pretty much it. And then you can design the end-to-end experience, which means every interaction from the looking for purchasing and using the watch. So from the moment the user goes to the shop, buys this watch, okay, brings it back, uses it, and if there is a maintenance or if there is a support that you need to give, all of these things has to be taken care end-to-end processes. Okay, once you have all of these things figured out, this is going to give you the understanding of a good product research. Okay, let's look at our kings and queens, which are going to be product development and user-centered process. So you have 2 cards which are going to be helpful, and which is going to make us win this battle of user experience. So let's see product development process. Okay, first we see that implementation. Okay, then we have launch, then we have learn, then we have ideate. The way we start it is we start from ideate, coming up with an idea for how to solve users' need. Okay, it can be a very simple, very basic idea. Then you go to implement. Okay, building a product based off the idea. What a product you want to work on, and how do you want it to work. That's what you need to implement. Then you have launch the product. Okay, while working in so many startups and after running my own startup, I realized that how important it is to have the speed and velocity to launch your product so that the user can test it. The more the user will test it, the more feedback you'll get, the more better you'll get your answers. And that's what is very important over here. You need to launch the product so that you have the understanding of what exactly is happening and how the user is interacting with your product. And then you need to learn. Okay, you need to continuously observe the user. You need to see if the user is liking it or not. If there's a problem, what exactly is the problem? You need to ask the user. If you don't ask the user, it's never going to be better for your app. Okay, and this if you see, after learning, you ideate again. Okay, and this is a circle which happens. So this is a product development process. Every company, every software, every hardware, any sort of company goes through this product development cycle, which helps them continuously update and make changes in a product, and which helps them make a better product every time they're working on it. Then you have set user-centered process. Now, in this case, we are going to put the user at the center of our development. Okay. Over here, what is happening is, if you see, we are jumping directly between ideate and learn. Okay, ideate, test. Okay, and what we're removing is we're removing the implementation part. We're directly removing it, and we're launching the launch part. We're not about to launch the product. We're going to test and iterate the product and give it to the users directly. Okay. When we launch a product, okay, it means that you are essentially making it publicly viable and publicly available, so that a lot of people are going to try it out. The problem with that is when so many people are going to try it out, chances are that the success chances drops quite dramatically, which means you would have a very hard time, figuring out, what exactly was the problem and, what exactly where you went wrong. So it's the best idea to work with ideate, test, ideate, test. If you see over here ideate, then what you do is test plus iterate, and then you learn from the user's problem, and then you go back to ideate again. So it's a smaller circle. Okay, the developer cycle has been reduced by one step, and this significantly drops the amount of wastage of time that you're going to do. And this is something which helps the user to understand and make things in a much more efficient way. So I hope you understood this theory. I hope you had a lot of fun understanding what I mean by this. And I'll see you all in the next video. Till then, let me go back to my camera. Yeah. Till then, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.